What's going on, you guys? Chris! Yo! What's poppin'? We're gonna be cooking, and we're gonna be talking about the Department of Education being gone. Bye-bye, Queen King. How are you? Good to see you. Queen King. Yes, the Department of Education. Chris, be honest. Did the Department of Education do you any good? Did public schooling, the way that public schooling goes, did it really do you any good? Be honest. The Department of Education failed our children. Yes, Jimmy, it did. We're cooking chicken tonight. I feel like chicken tonight. I am very happy that I would have to dissect that I love my high school. I'm not saying that you don't love your high school, you know, that you can't have fond memories, but I'm saying, did it really help you, you know, as academically, you know? I mean, maybe you had a great school. You are from the go, so that's where a lot of, you know, the education don't tend to be that great over there, but, you know, maybe you got lucky. Maybe you went to a private, did you go to private school? That matters too. And did you go to public school? I went to a public school. It was terrible. As far as, you know, when I think back about the academics of it, like, was I best prepared to learn how to, you went to a magnet school, okay. So typically like schools that are, you know, charters or private, things like that, they don't tend to do that well. The federal education system incentivizes more children into special education. Whitney, top school in Chicago. Okay, cool. Obviously, I'm not saying every school is terrible, but certainly most of them are. There's my wonderful husband. Hi, husband. Where's my chicken? Yeah, so obviously every school isn't terrible, but a lot of them are. Anyway, Trump is abolishing, or trying to abolish the Department of Education. Let me give you the tea on this. So what he signed was an executive order, but the Department of Education was created in, I think, 1973, and it was created by Congress, so then it would have to be ended by Congress. So right now the executive order is basically to kind of get the ball rolling, get people going in that direction by reducing the workforce, taking the work elsewhere, basically making it irrelevant, in hopes that Congress would go ahead and get rid of it. Because let's just be honest, we have spent $3 trillion, $3 trillion in public schooling. Compulsory public schooling means they make you, 1979, okay, thank you. They make you go to school. Our tax-paying dollars go to this, and the kids can't read. Like literally, they aren't reading at grade level. We're not getting a good return on our $3 trillion. And if you're gonna spend $3 trillion on something, we're gonna need a little bit more than that. So check this out. Listen to this, these stats and stuff.
After 45 years, the United States spends more money on education by far than any other country, and spends likewise by far more money per pupil than any country, and it's not even close. But yet we rank near the bottom of the list in terms of success. It's an amazing stat. Those are two stats you don't want. The most money spent per pupil, and you're at the bottom of the list. And that's where we are, like it or not. And we've been there for a long time. 70% of 8th graders are not proficient in either reading or in math. 70%. 40% of 4th graders lack even basic reading skills, can't read. Students in our public elementary and middle schools score worse in reading today than when the department opened. In Baltimore, 40% of the high schools have 0 students who can do basic mathematics. Not even the very simplest of mathematics. I said, give me your definition of basic, and they're talking about like adding a few numbers together. Despite these breathtaking failures, the department's discretionary budget has exploded by 600% in a very short period of time, and it employs bureaucrats in buildings all over Washington, D.C. and good-looking people here. After 45 years, the United States spends more money on education by far than any other.
So, yeah, we spend the most and we get the least. The kids cannot read, they can't do math, they are not ready to go on to do really anything once they're done with public schooling. And we just keep throwing money at it. And I mean, it comes a point where it's like, okay, we got to do something else because this thing is declining. And it's really sad when you see really smart kids. You see the potential of the children, but they can't do like basic things. It's heartbreaking. It's not, it's not good. We can't sit here and pound our chests and, talk about how great America is if the children can't read. But this was by design. It was by design that children not be able to learn properly. The whole American idea of education was imported by Prussia. Well, it was imported by John Dewey, who is, known as the father of public schooling, but he got it from Prussia, a country that no longer exists. And, why would we keep just dumping money into something that's not helping? The kids are not getting better. They're getting worse. Jimmy says most of the failing schools in Black communities where the most funding is. It's true. They always talk about, the kids, we don't have the money. The inner city kids don't have, they don't have laptops and they don't have this and that. Well, they sure enough got cell phones and they still, it's not helping them. That's the problem. And why on earth would we keep pushing something that isn't working for us? Like, at some point, we got to do something different. We always throw around that phrase people talk about. They say, the definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Well, that's exactly what we've been doing since the 70s with education. Doing the same thing, but expecting a different result and not doing anything different. Why would we keep doing that? Why would we continue to waste money like that? especially now when we don't have to. Like, there's so many other ways to educate. There's so many different ways to teach. Like, we don't have to be confined to that. And clearly it's not working. That's probably my biggest beef. Like, it's not working. Like, it would be one thing if it was working, but it's not. And it's just dumb. So then, to me, you start to wonder, well, why would they want to continue something? They, meaning the bureaucrats and the people who are the teachers unions, the people who are pushing this nonsense. Why would they continue to push something that's not working? You have to start wondering that. But see, public schooling doesn't teach you to think. It teaches you to follow just the directions. It teaches you to memorize. It doesn't teach you to think. So a lot of people aren't thinking, well, we're spending all this money and not getting any return on our investment. And they keep pushing out this propaganda like, oh, if we don't keep just spending money into oblivion and not getting the results, these teachers unions, they keep telling us that we just need to keep doing it. And so you have to start to wonder, like, why are they pushing this? What is the real agenda? Well, I will submit to you that long ago in the 30s, that when the teachers unions and things were being created, they had a plan. The communists infiltrated the teachers unions, and their plan was to take over these systems. Now, the education system was already built on a terrible foundation, but top it off with communists coming in there and wanting to steer the country in a communist direction. So Bella Dodd, who wrote a book called School of Darkness, talks about her journey into the Communist Party and back to her Catholic faith. She testified before Congress in the 50s, and she said this. Is it only allowed video? Oh, okay, here it is. So she was asked by Mr. Kunzig, he's one of the people who interviewers. He says, why are teachers, above all, so desired by communism? Dr. Bella Dodd said, well, I guess the communists know that the old people living in America today are not going to make the revolution. They are not the people who are going to count. They count on the young people, and those who control the youth are the people who control the future of this country. Mr. Clarity, another interviewer, said, that is the reasoning that Hitler used, isn't it? Dr. Dodd said, that is the reasoning that any people have who are out to control. Mr. Clarity says, seize the minds of the youth, and you will have them in due course to control the nation. And that is exactly what has happened. They have strategically, communists, Marxists, socialists, the Board of Ed has definitely had its challenges. My question is, what is the alternative? It feels a little radical to just end it without a plan to educate the children. Well, so the Department of Education, the states have their own departments of education. So we don't have to manage it. The thing is to push it back to the states. Let the states, which are state and local, which are closer to you, meaning you can walk into your state capital easier than you can walk into the federal capital. You can walk into your local school board, whether it is going to the federal level. So let the governing agency that's close to you, that you, the people, we the people, you have more control over. Because if you go in there, you see your child is failing, because it's so, the federal bureaucracy, it's so far removed from you, it doesn't know you. It has no, they don't know anything about your children. They don't know, the state and local people will have more, they're closer to you. So they're going to know what's going on in your community. They can better see what's going on, in your city and your state, stuff like that. So you'll have better chances of fixing things that need to be fixed and things like that. The centralized control in DC needs to be broken up. And quiet as it's kept, we were the best. America was doing better when we didn't have a federal education system. Even when we didn't have compulsory public schooling, we did better. So all these people who try to make you think, oh, we just need public education. Not the case. America and black children, because I know that's one of the first things that, black children don't have this. Black children were doing better in those little one-room schoolhouses. They were getting the education that they needed even back then. Because what happened was, there's a lot of things that happened, but one of the main things that happened in schooling was they stopped teaching classical education, the good, the true, and the beautiful. They stopped teaching those things and talked about your feelings. Oh, little Johnny, how do you feel? What about your feelings? Not teaching little Johnny how to read, which is clearly indicated in the scores. Little Johnny don't even know how to think. Okay? Poor little Johnny is just left to fend for himself. And, this has been talked about for decades. This is not a new idea. My feelings. Listen, I understand, yes, there's a time and place for feelings. But when it's time to be educated, feelings aren't, it's not really about how you feel. It's just not, and I think that's why we have softer men these days. It's why we have, the nation as a whole just can't take anything. Oh my God, somebody said so. It's a microaggression if I ask you where you're from. This is what the communists wanted to do. This was the goal. They wanted to make you more feelings focused. They wanted to make you more, make the kids pay attention more to the radical things like social engineering instead of engineering, science engineering, and different things like that. And so we've seen the decline. We've seen, hey, well, how are you? What's going on? We've seen the decline. I mean, it's evident. Will is a teacher. I'm not sure if you're still teaching, but he can tell you. The education system is not, it wasn't created for kids to learn. It was not, we see it, it's evident. So don't be fooled, especially when these teachers unions come flying out of the woodwork like Randy Weingarten did on the other day on the news, flying across the TV screen, I'm just so mad. It's just so crazy because, she didn't mention, why we should keep it. And I think she was asked, she was like, why do you want to keep that apart? Why do we need to keep it? The opportunity. That is not an answer. The opportunity. Opportunity to what, ma'am? Because we've been failing. Oh, but what? The opportunity to keep failing kids? The opportunity for, bad teachers to keep a job because it's hard to fire bad teachers because of the teachers unions? That's where the Communist Party took hold, in the teachers unions, and then they started running everything instead of, parents, instead of people who actually cared about the outcomes and the nation as a whole when it came to who was going to be educated. We abdicated that responsibility to the communists, and now we're paying for it. So, you know, when people try to get in your face or try to come at you about we can't get rid of the Department of Education. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? It's, you know, relative to history, it's not even that old. It just came around. I forget who it was in the comments said 1979. I know it was in the 70s. So it hasn't been around that long. Public schooling as a whole hasn't been around that long. It is a relatively new thing. We were actually doing better educating when we didn't have public schooling. So, I'm just saying, don't be, you know, we can't be afraid of a new idea, especially when we don't know how it came along, why it exists, and why people want to get rid of it in the first place. Like, our first thing the first thing we should do is to look at both sides. Okay, well, here's what they're saying. Here's what we're saying. Let's look at the facts. Let's see who's closer to right, and then make a decision. You know, we kind of have we've romanticized the idea of public schooling without a reason. You know, is it giving us what we want? Meaning the children being better educated? No. Is it costing us less money? No. Do we keep putting money into it? Yes. Is it helping? No. So what exactly are we doing? So those are my 2 cents. A lot of these people who are clamoring on and on about, oh, we got to keep the Department of Education and all that stuff, are radicals. Their agenda is not what they're telling you. Oh, we're just so concerned about the kids. Oh, really? So where was your outrage? Why weren't you rioting? I don't want you to riot. Why weren't you marching in the streets when the kids in Baltimore, 0 were able to pass the math test? 0. But we got high graduation rates. Who are you graduating? Oh, they just keep on selling us. Oh, we get the high graduation rates and more kids are graduating, but they dumb as a freaking doorknob. It is pathetic. And these people are unaccountable. Nobody is holding them account to all of the money that they're spending and none of the lack of the progress. Now, who is answering to these people? Nobody. What do you want? This one?
Yes.
So, yeah. But yeah, stand firm. Ask the people who are going hard for, oh, we have to keep the Department of Education. Ask them why. Ask them why we got to keep it. Ask them to explain to you the great things about education. Push back. Like, just ask them, well, why do you think we should keep it? I mean, everybody knows kids aren't doing well. Everybody knows the public school systems are like trash. So ask them why we should keep it. And ask them, according to who is it good? According to who? And why is it good? Anyway, let me know what you guys think about what I think in the comments section below. Like this video. Share this video. And follow. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.